All right. Hey, wowie, wow, wow, folks. So slow launch a little bit here, though. That's okay. We're just messing around. How is everybody doing out there? We are live. So you might notice a slight difference. We were having a little bit of technical difficulty, but that does not stop us from live streaming in the least, folks. So we are live. We have a wonderful, wonderful show lined up for you guys. We have a great guest who um, I'm ready to have a conversation with. I think we've been putting this off long enough. Um, Plus, another good thing about this is the fact that all you guys have had to sit here and wait. We've made you wait. We were divas today, okay? Because we wanted you guys to know how important we are. Just joking. Just joking, folks. We're kidding here. We're kidding here. Just calm it down. Calm it down. So if you're checking us out first time, please go follow our YouTube channel, the Gabe Blue Experience over there on YouTube. Please like and subscribe on the channel there. We're always trying to build our viewership, as you know, and we'd appreciate you. Just like who was it? Yolanda, who was watching over there. Thank you so much. And Miss Sia is over there watching on YouTube. So thank you guys for checking out our YouTube channel. I always appreciate it so very, very much. And of course, we are streaming on our favorite platform, guys. We are on LinkedIn. So please, if you're checking us out, follow me. If you're not following me, we're trying to get our follower count up. So yes, I am being greedy. Again, you guys are knowing this. So I'm just letting you. Don't act shocked. All right. So we got a wonderful guest for you guys lined up here. I am ready to bring him in. So before we do, though, if you're checking us out, please head over to our merch store because we do have merch. Now, I don't have my hat on this evening, but we do have our merch. We have shirts, hats, mugs, the whole 9 yards. If you want to go you want to go check out and get some merch, I'll drop the link in the comments so that you can go over there, help a brother out, buy a hat or a coffee mug. Everybody loves coffee, right? So you don't even have to drink coffee out of it. You can drink water or liquor or anything good out of it. It's good for holding all kinds of liquids. So that is another good thing. So please go over there and check it out. The show goes on. Exactly, folks. That is what we're going to have to do. So, all right. And of course, because of his pair channels, look who's here, Mr. Ben Curie is here. How are you doing, buddy? So, wait a minute. You're giving away all the information and all the goods of who our guest is. So I want to help you guys out, first of all, by saying this guy is a wonderful individual. The first time that we actually connected here on the LinkedIn platform, um, we had some really great conversations. And it was during the time when they were doing the beta for the um, audio testing here on the LinkedIn platform. And of course, he was doing his rooms with Dame Judy Fox, of course, like he likes to say. And, I would join in. Of course, I was part of the great beta group as well. So I was always privy to what was going on behind the scenes. And that was one of the cool things about hanging out with a lot of the people there. So we had a lot of rooms, a lot of great conversations. And this guy not only does, that was doing audio rooms, but I learned a lot about him. He started doing podcasts. He started sharing information. Well, he's been doing podcasts, but he was sharing a lot of great information. Um, I never corrected you. That's okay. It's okay, Ben. It's okay. We love it, buddy. So, without any further ado, guys, I've made you wait long enough, and you're gonna enjoy this conversation. Please help me welcome to the show my guest for the evening, Mr. Vinnie Potestivo. Folks, help him come to the show. There he is. There's the man. That's right.
Thank
Say
you so
hello to
much, bud.
everybody there, Vinny.
See there? Are you kidding me? What a great song.
Oh, I know. I am a kid of the 90s, and
I love this.
um that was one of
It's
the biggest things for me is like always having 90s music blaring. It was always fun. Um, so that was one of the main reasons why I still love oh, Vinny, you're an absolute superstar
oh,
according
thanks,
to
y'all.
thank you guys. But man, thank you so much for number one for doing this, us having a little bit of technical difficulties. One of the good things about yes, I know. is my head because I am gray and white. See the beard? Mine is like the opposite.
It's
It's black
creeping up.
hair
Mine's
and
creeping up. It's creeping up.
it is. It is. But like I said, it doesn't stop us from having wonderful conversations. And one of the best things that I really learned about you, and just not only having like actual conversation, but then going and doing a little bit of more of a deep dive and following your content for a while was, um, some of the struggles that you had went through, right?
Mm,
To getting to this point. I think that's one big thing about really sharing how people kind of grow. And you've been pretty open about when you were working at MTV, right? Of course, back in
mhm.
the 90s. And for those who don't know, please just don't be shocked, but Vinny is gay. And not that I want to announce that, but that's something to
I
be.
appreciate you celebrating that with me. Are you kidding? Of
that,
course. Thank you for
that
knowing that you have a voice in my life. Of course.
Exactly. And I love celebrating those. That's why I have my Ecan Pride hat on, because I love celebrating that, because people are people. And
Yeah.
that's the way I see it. And again, going over to a reference, another 80s song, people are peoples. Anyway,
Mm-hmm.
going back on track there.
Mm-hmm.
But part of what you've done and shared about your journey and coming from that age of where that was really just starting to get explored. I mean, it wasn't such a big thing, but it started to expand and get a little bit bigger. And the reason I wanted to touch on this, because there's still a lot of people who struggle with this, and it's terrible that they have to, um, in this day and age. But having people share like what their stories are and what their journey, this is all part of it. This is all part of who Vinny is, apart from like, I think I've read one of your posts where you talked about growing up with was it your grandparents' farm? Is that where
In
it
Kansas,
was?
yeah,
Yeah, in
my
Kansas.
grandparents in Kansas, yeah.
Yeah, like right in the Bible Belt, or then in that area over there where it's not, where you would think like it's a little bit stranger, or it's not as commonplace, because you were, I mean, going to New York, of course, that's a little bit different. That's like a really hodgepodge of people and cultures in there. But yes, people we do love. He's an amazing
By the way, I
human
see
being.
Kevin Joyce. Hi, Kevin Joyce. I love you too. It's great to see you. So many awesome
Yes.
people showing up. Yeah, I really appreciate you bringing that up. I because I think so much when I look back at some of the projects I've worked on and the people I got a chance to work with, so many of them are so successful that it's so easy to for like my what I actually do and like the reality of realities to get overlooked because of the celebrity component to the famous stardom piece that I kind of is adjacent to this world that I live in. And there's no part of my success that I would have if it weren't for those struggles with my own sexuality, with myself, with my own understanding of how people perceived me, the value I put on myself and my relationship with my sexuality, um, also the relationship I had with myself and having parents that were in and out
Yeah.
AA and living in a single parent household and being the oldest sibling. Um, all those horrible situations gave me superpowers. Like I became a people pleaser, and in a good way and a bad way. In the best way because it's who I am today, right? So
Yeah. Right.
that's why it's the good way and a bad way. It was both at the same time. I didn't even realize this. My little brother Sal said to me once, he's like, "Vin, you worked so hard in your 20s, though. You worked so hard." And I was like, "What? I worked at MTV. Well, how hard do you think I was working?" He's like, "Every minute of every single day, all the time for 10 years. That's pretty hard." And I was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I loved it. You're right. But you're 100% right. That's all I literally, that's all I could do and actually was allowed to do. And that's ultimately why I left MTV. So I could do things that weren't happening at MTV that I knew I was capable of helping elsewhere. It was those opportunities. So,
Right. And a part of, like I say, part of that journey, those are building blocks, right? That you kind of learn from. So even coming from of a place, and I know exactly where you're coming from, because I was very much the same way, where I was a people pleaser.
Yeah.
And, sometimes stepping out of that mold, because that's something that comes programmed inside of us once we get there. Even now, as we go forward, like we still hit on those tendencies at times, and we have to literally catch ourselves to go, whoa, what am
Yeah.
I doing? I'm walking back into let's continue to walk forward, not backwards, because I'm not, I'm wanting to kind of continue to grow. And one of the things that I love that you've done is you've also taken a lot of the experiences, and, as a people pleaser,
And a people
it's,
hoarder too.
and the people,
Turn into a casting director. Like literally, like this is what's my one weakness? People. What's the thing I have the most abundance of in my life that I should be so blessed and lucky of? People. Like I triple down. I quadruple double down.
well, and part of this for those who, again, are just getting to know you here on the platform. There's a lot of people. Again, this is a big platform, 680 million people that are here on this platform all the time. And so it's not like we know everybody and everybody's connected to everybody. So someone coming in and learning your story, right? That's for me a big part of like how you have found ways to. I know Ben, but I'm messing with him on purpose.
Oh, I see. I
But
see.
you've found ways to take those qualities that you've gained as a people pleaser and even as a people hoarder, and you've turned them into really strong relationships. I think that's one of the things we can take from being a people pleaser
Hmm.
is how we formulate ways to form really great bonds. And what I love is when you form bonds with people, especially like somebody like yourself, they tend to be very strong. I mean, they're really intense. When you get connected with somebody like that, and most of those long lasting relationships like that are stemming from sometimes starting out as a people pleaser and then kind of even changing that relationship between people. And like I hear it sometimes whenever you've done some of your podcast episodes. And for those who don't know, he does have a podcast called what is it named? I love the name of it.
It's called I Have a
I
Podcast.
I have a podcast with Vinnie Potestivo, and you can go back and listen to some of the conversations, and you hear the connection that you have with people. Right, that's what I love about it, and that's what I like. What I love about here as well. I was listening to one you did with TJ Lavin,
Yeah, yeah.
and how you guys had connected, and him telling the story of how he met you and how you guys have kind of been very close. And I was like, I love that because it's
Me
almost
too.
instantaneous sometimes.
I love how much he loves telling that story. By the way, and I love when he tells it to GQ, and I love when he tells it to he's what a humble and awesome person, man. But who better to represent the physical and emotional challenges of like the MTV demos for the last 20 years than an athlete like TJ who's just going to show up for me and on every single human level that I need a champion, an ally, a brother, an older brother that I never got to have, to be really honest. And I don't take it lightly that I got to open the door for people like him, like Nick Cannon, who's created so many jobs at MTV ever since we brought him
Right.
over from Nickelodeon, and Wild 'N Out became the franchise it is. Like I got to help people not create their own projects, but create projects for so thousands of others. It's so awesome.
Yes, it is. And, even now, as you continue to move forward, right? I mean, coming here on the LinkedIn platform and doing a lot of these audio events and even sharing a lot of the information that you kind of were doing on here and wanting to get people like creating podcasts and doing audio and doing all these things because there's something about wanting to be a champion for helping other people find their voices, right? Because the struggle of getting there, right? And then getting to that point of where you don't want to forget that, and you want to also remind yourself that you do have influence, you do have a voice, and the ways to use it for good is like helping people like from one end to the other. And guess what? I mean, you do a really good job of it, and it's one of the reasons why I think a lot of people are sort of drawn to individuals like you because they come into the sphere and even if they don't even know you, but they go hear like your podcast, or they hear other places that you've been on, or they read other things about you, and they go, man, this is the kind of people that I want to get to know. I mean, that's how I was, at least. And when I started investigating people, because again, before the audio events, I wasn't very familiar with you
Yeah.
at all. But the moment I started hearing you talk, and then I started doing my own deep dives into who Vinny is, I was like, wow, I love his story. I love the journey about what he's gone through and how he's gotten to this point and where he's even going, moving forward. I mean, and then you find people again, like you find people in your world and you bring them in there, and again, you form a really good bond, kind of like you did with Judy. I mean, you guys have a really good chemistry when you come on here. I mean, I love it, and I think sometimes people don't understand how hard it is to actually do that, to form
Oh yeah.
a really close relationship. That is an actual skill set, to find that and do it so not flawlessly, but so easily sometimes. And when it seems flawless, because you make it look so easy. Um, so not to toot your horn, but I love that
No, I
about what
really
you do, man.
appreciate you, bud. I don't know if I'm supposed to say this, but
But please do.
I gotta be honest with you. I agree with you. I love the version of my story that I get to tell now. Like if I was doing what I was trying to do now and am successfully doing now 5 years ago, you wouldn't want to have heard the version of the story I fell back into. And it's like it gives me goosebumps. It's 20 October 1998. I took a one class. And this is how and it's interesting that my sexuality comes into it, because I never wanted to lie about myself, because I had to lie about certain things in my life because I didn't have rights that protected me, or family members that I needed to make sure were happy while I was living under their roof. So I chose to lie in the early 90s about certain parts of my life. There were some things I was never going to lie about. What I do for a living was one of them. And I took this class. It happened to be that Robin Quivers from Howard
Yes,
Stern
Howard Stern.
so she was in this class with me. It was like a weekend long intensive. And in this class, we learned that the stories we tell ourselves are pretty bad. And like we're capable of reframing them, and we should live in like the future tense of our story. Like I think a lot of us now understand the power of sort of like living in the future. I was at odds with that. I thought, you're setting me up to be a liar. You say that I'm just supposed to go back to school and tell everyone I'm a casting director because I want to be a casting director. This doesn't even make sense to me. So I went back to school and I did the thing that I knew I had to do so that I wouldn't be a liar, which was I took out an ad on backstage.com and I said, I'm a casting director. If you want to send me headshots and resumes, it's up to you. Future projects I'm collecting. I'm looking for future. It's up to you. Send no promises, but send me your headshots to my school address. And I put that in a thing. And I got maybe like 500 to 1,000, maybe like 700 had 8x10. I felt like Santa
Wow.
Claus, like Miracle on 34th Street moment. Y'all,
Right.
I'm a data engineer. I was like,
Right.
I'm president of the computer club. I'm building Wagner. I'm building CPU. I'm selling, my first business is selling CPUs back to the computer center that I'm like the daytime manager of. And I understood SQL database. I understood Microsoft Access. This is where Ben and I really connect as soulmates. When you can take data and what you're capable, data is a representation, as we now know. Data is a number. Data is a representation of people. I didn't think about this back then, but I built a database of people that I was able to move on quickly. I was obsessed with the show Hannity and Combs. There was an alumni who worked on that show, and long story short, after like 2 or 3 quick meetings, I became a casting coordinator where I traveled the country on Hannity and Combs, picking people to ask questions on both sides of the aisle. Fox News was a couple of years old back then, so I was very happy to be a part of yet an emerging cable network. I saw MTV get built. I thought, this is cool. I'm Fox News. I watch Fox. It's Channel 5 in New York. This is going to be great. And it was that exposure to political casting that then brought me to MTV. I got to cast Choose or Lose, MTV's political coverage. But my databases followed me. And then they were like, well, can we use your databases for like Want to Be a VJ? A contest where MTV was like searching thousands of people in America to be the next. My little database was a database that like was the backbone of information. When they were looking for Jesse Camp, they couldn't find who's that dude. That's the crazy guy with Jesse, man. He was be a VJ. Go to the database and pull it up. And also, I knew how to wire two VCRs together to edit. And I'm not going to tell you why I know that skill. I'm just going to tell you that we're past that point.
That's
Yeah.
for another day.
But it was like those technical skills. You know, when I got hired at MTV in '99 to help my boss Radisa create the talent development department, my job wasn't casting. My job was support an amazing, brilliant casting director, the guy who created the Osbournes and Newlyweds and Punk that I got to develop and cast because he was smart enough to see the promise and talent and had access to MTV. And what we did was take the 3-minute, 4-minute music video of storytelling that MTV was letting artists tell for so long. We gave those 30 minutes, turned that to 30 minutes and gave that to Ashton and Sharon and Jess. And in 2007, when I left the network, that's when they gave it back to the audience, the Jersey Shores, the Hills. And literally 2 years later, look at what social media did, where we all became, powerful storytellers. Yeah. And I think and what I love most about the storytelling community, even on LinkedIn, the services we're selling are a refinement of storytelling. It's not just your voice that matters. It's your voice and your story and your presence and the connection of all that together. And for that reason, how could I not do what I'm doing now? How could I not take a step back from TV and work with every single person who in 2007 qualified to work with me, because you now have the technical skills to create. TV was a very, very sharp elbows in TV. But at MTV, Ashton Kutcher, Jessica Simpson, Sharon, small business owners, small business owners, Mandy Moore, these are people who are creating albums, putting tens of thousands of dollars into recording and mastering and hundreds into marketing for it to work. We can all relate to that now. And now that I've learned what I did 20 years ago at MTV, how could I not try to do that again in podcasting? And I put so much energy. I'm literally putting for better or for worse, and I love my boyfriend and he's so supportive, but I'm putting a lot of energy. I hear my little brother telling me, you work all the time. And I'm like, but I love it. I can see how what I'm investing in, because I get so much out of it. Cammie, I see, who's been here since the beginning. Ben, who I've built strategies. Ben, who I've told my strategies to. He implemented them before I even moved on them. And he proved my strategies before I even did. Like, I'm learning cross vertically. I don't know. I'm making up weird words, but like, what a cool way to be able to absorb experiences and process them. And it's something I'm really passionate about, empowering, encouraging small business owners, anyone who is capable of creating intellectual property, to get out there and really get that message out there. I'm passionate about it.
Yeah.
And Sweta, it's great to see you, by the way. And I love these are great names.
And yes, they are. Sweta's awesome. And she's asking us advice for TikTokers, and she's got a TikTok channel that she posts tons and tons of content on there. She's asking you, Sweta, because I'm trying to get myself over the magic number so I can start live streaming over on the TikTok platform.
But you know, 1,000? Is it 1,000?
1,000, yeah. I'm at 500 right now. 501, I think.
So do you try to go big? Do you try to put out that? I mean, I put out a post a day. I record so much. I'm so passionate about recording things that I record for my own pleasure, creative processes. So it's really fun for me to go back and pull that and put that on TikTok. So every day I've been doing that just to sort of stoke the fire. And I notice every day I get to, one or two. What I'm not doing is cross-channel promoting. For some reason, I feel like I want my TikTok audience to be my TikTok audience. I don't need them to be an amalgamation of all my other sort of platforms. I don't know if I'm like, for some weird reason, I want that to happen.
Look, it's a hard look, but that's a hard battle to kind of, to actually try to do that across all mediums. Right. Yeah. That's kind of hard, because unless you're like Gary Vee or somebody like that has like a whole team that can handle separate accounts and it's all people just doing it. I mean, for one individual to go, I'm going to go stream on TikTok. Like even now, look, I stream a ton. Okay. I have even gone on TikTok and put up videos and stuff of like even short clips and that sort of thing. I do YouTube, I do TikTok, I do Instagram. I'm doing on Instagram live. I'm going live on Facebook now just to do it.
Yeah.
And then of course, like I said, I'm also streaming here on LinkedIn and far trying to make my base a little bit wider. Um, so yeah, I am taking each individual platform sort of on its own because I'm like you. I'm like I got to try to build a different understanding of what people is because like if you see me on TikTok, I hardly ever speak in my videos. I
Mm-hmm.
mostly just like duet people's stuff. I really don't do too much. Um, So for most of what I do, and yes, I love that you shared that. If you can convert
Well, that's cool,
into
Sweat.
business
I didn't
account,
know
you can go
that.
live without.
I think you get like
Look
the
at that.
uncool version of music, but if going live is worth it,
Okay.
right? Then like, yeah, Sebastian hits the nail on the head. That's what I'm practicing. Sebastian, you hit the nail on the head. I'm practicing consistency on TikTok. Actually, I've learned how to every week on a Monday or a Sunday, I go and preload a couple of like procedural things that I've done, and I figure out a way to do it. I haven't quite started making original content yet.
Yeah.
I am, however, Cami has an amazing sort of community of podcasters that we get to share in every other week. Maybe she can even put her information here. But today we
Yes.
onboarded, I think, about like 20 people onto Shuffles, which is like invite only on Pinterest. Like it was so cool to be in a room where we can share our invite codes, grow, and then these people are going to hopefully qualify for Pinterest TV, which comes out November 8th. I'm really fully leaned into Pinterest TV, and that's why I'm not jumping on TikTok just yet because
Just yet.
I had to make a decision on where I want to be prepared to make a splash. TikTok pool is full, but is full already, you know. But and knowing that Pinterest TV is going to be brand new and it's on a super. It's how I felt about LinkedIn Audio. What a new tool on a super established platform that I love that I've been
Part
contributing
of.
to for 20 years or
Yeah.
something like that. Yeah, sign me up. So that
Nope.
if y'all and if you want any information, I don't know how to give it to you, so reach out to me maybe on LinkedIn if anyone
Um,
is looking to get access to the Pinterest Creator Academy. But that's the
yeah.
way in. It's so important.
So there you
Oh, and
go.
Cami, you're
Thank
perfect.
you.
Thank
Look
you.
at this.
Yes, Cami.
So whoa, but what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna make this a little bit more hopefully user friendly for you guys to see there.
Cool.
Um, and part of it is we'll go back over there and I'll change that back there. All right, but part of it though is much to what we've been touching on here is there again coming from the background that you did and in establishing what you've done and seeing how you're now seeing the future of what's going on and you're trying to understand it now. It's like, how do I choose where to like put my time? Because that's the thing is like, where do you choose to invest? Because the heavier you invest in one platform or another, you're going to find the audience, you're going to find attraction. So like for me, I did this 3 years ago when I said I'm putting most of my marbles on LinkedIn, and I've been doing it now for 3 years on this platform. And yeah, there's been waves and there's been struggles and there's been all this stuff to get to a certain point, but um, there's a reason everybody goes, well, you're the king of LinkedIn live streaming. Of course, because I invested the time. I wanted to make this, because back then I was like you, like I see the excitement in your eyes when we talk about Pinterest.
Mm-hmm.
I saw this when people were talking about live streaming on LinkedIn, and they're like, on a business platform, you're gonna live stream? I was like, yeah, I am. And now it's starting to see more payoffs and benefits because, again, where do all the corporate people go? Where are all the CEOs? Where are the
Mm-hmm.
CFOs, the marketers, you name it? Where are they hanging out? They're hanging out here, baby. And what do you think most of their eyes are? How do you think I can gain access to certain people? So it's just learning the angles, right? And figuring out where you want to go. So, um, I mean, I can even here's the best part about this. I can still get a hold of some of the biggest creators here on TikTok because they have accounts over here,
Mm-hmm.
you know? So you can reach out to them, and they might have like 1.4 million followers on TikTok. They come over here on LinkedIn. Guess what they have? Like 600 followers. How easy for you to go, hey, I love what you do on TikTok. Could I have a conversation with you? And then boom, uh, you get them on, your show, and then you just like bring the tips, and not that that's gonna translate into a lot of people, but I mean, I'm just saying from the perspective of, I wouldn't have had that opportunity had I tried to do this on their platform. If I tried to reach out to them on TikTok, and I've done this with YouTubers. I mean, YouTubers that have 100,000, 200,000, close to a million subscribers, and um, how to actually get a hold of them. And oh my gosh, we have breaking news. Um, Coolio passed away. Wow. Well, he went to the gangster's paradise in heaven.
Oh, I didn't. Oh, that's really sad.
That is. Wow. Well, thank you for sharing that. We are about music, and he was a big part of it, no doubt. But yeah, I mean, I love the fact that you're doing so many things for so many on different platforms, and just showing people, like, again, you can still be uber creative on any platform, and it doesn't have to fit a certain mold or type of content per se. I mean, you can talk about just about anything. And I mean, I'm on a business platform, and I don't talk business,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So what does that kind of tell you? So you can go on Pinterest, and then they're like, well, what are you going to talk about there? I mean, you're going to talk about crafts, and no, he's going to talk about the things that he's good at. And there's an audience there. People have other things that they learn and follow, and everything. So you're going to be able to find that there. And then even the idea of what you've done with putting your podcast on IMDb, that was genius. I loved that you guys were able to do that. And because it's like, that's a like nobody usually thinks about those angles. Like, oh, that's for actors, and putting, key grips, and people putting their names over there. That's for quote unquote celebrities, and those sort of things. And there's more to it.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, the
but
intellectual property conversation changed. I mean, Spielberg, literally, to be really honest, not to get political, and Spielberg, don't come after me. And it's weird to say this, but I got a chance to work with him on a couple of failed reality shows that haven't gone yet. But when his opinion shifted about the digital distribution of feature motion picture films, because of the pandemic and the fact that there was digital infrastructure that ultimately ended up saving many of the houses. Like there was a war against film in digital that was
yeah,
happening, that film wasn't going to get their hands off, that the film and movie industry, in my opinion, wasn't taking its hands off of the way that television quickly became digitized.
yes,
We were so okay to go start recording on digital tapes, and we actually got higher quality because we were able to get higher quality cameras and higher quality
yes,
recordings on the move, versus maybe some of the technology that are open to cinematographers, on a set with, on a major motion picture that has a budget like that. And I was aware that intellectual property was changing, and I knew the power of it. To be honest, I think I launched my podcast. I remember thinking, oh, this is going to be cool because I've gotten some good guests on my podcast. So those guests, if they're connected to my podcast, that could help me discover it. And then I got so caught up in the launch of my podcast, because on IMDb you can't take credit for something that hasn't already aired. It has to have aired or be completely financed in a public market. So like, you'll see upcoming movies on there
yes,
because those are financed and those are
yeah,
existing projects. They're registered IP, but podcasts don't come on into the ecosystem until after they've aired. And I just, when you launch a podcast, all of a sudden the next thing becomes the most important. I was so happy when Ben was like, I heard you talk about this, but you didn't do it. You're like, in the nicest way. It's like this TJ Lavin moment, right? Where he was like, but
yes.
come on, guy. Like, what do you mean? I don't get it. And I was like, wait, you're right. And thank you. And let's do it together, because you noticed that I didn't do it, and there's something there, like this is why we're meant to have this moment together. And
Yes.
audiolinked.com, if anyone wants to put it, audiolinked, AUDIOLANKED.com. And Sebastian, I appreciate you, by the way.
Yes.
I have to acknowledge I'm about 30 pounds down in like the last 3 months. So Sebastian,
Good
thank
for
you
you.
for.
So hey, we've all been. I've
I
been on
didn't
my
expect to
journey
say
as
that,
well.
but thank you for that. And
Uh,
here she is, the queen of the night, Dame Judy Fox joins us.
yes,
Judy,
man.
your ears must have been ringing, by the
Yeah,
way.
you missed all the good stuff. This isn't being recorded, so now you can't go back and watch it. I'm sorry.
I'll never tell.
You'll never know about it, Judy. You should have just tuned in from the beginning. So I'm sorry. Maybe people can give you the cliff notes of what
Yeah, right.
happened here, but there was so many juicy tidbits we dropped
You're
about
funny.
you.
Jamie, by the way, my name is Vinnie Potestivo. It's nice to meet you.
Yes.
I'm a TV guy, so I've been on LinkedIn a lot just because it's how I've been able to keep track of everyone I've ever gotten to work with. And when LinkedIn Audio came out, I partnered up with the amazing Judy Fox, who's actually watching the show right now.
This
Hi,
lady. Thank you
Judy.
so much, Judy, for watching.
Um, and to be honest, Judy put me on the map. I'll put it like that. Like I had access to a tool that a master like Judy Fox was able to say, let's do this. Let's take this on. Let's do this together and fly with me and soar. And I felt invincible in some ways and comforted in a lot of ways. That's the grace that allowed me to get into podcasting now versus 5 years was timing and technology and the right people at the right time. It really matters.
I love messing with you, Judy. Are you kidding, woman? I record everything. I don't breathe without having it. I'm just kidding. Without it, most of everything it is. So I actually have over like 500 episodes altogether.
Wow.
So I've been doing this again for. It is again my passion. So doing this and even moving into transition into like doing video production and all the other fun stuff that goes along with it. I still never lose sight of wanting to have a conversation live because these are the things that you get. And no, I didn't start. No.
That's funny.
I guess you could say we did. It's in some part of the world. Just don't know where.
We started it when it was meant to be.
When it was meant to be. That's all, folks. And that's what you guys got to go learn. So, but a lot of these people that I see here that are all the wonderful people that are showing up in the comments, I love it because most of them I've had conversations with. I mean, and again, I find people fascinating. That is my gift is I find people fascinating. And well, don't tell me that because I got some stuff for you. Just kidding. I'm not gonna mess with you. All right, but no, to be that is part of like where I think like what I saw happening with reality TV and saying, you could actually share things and people will find it interesting. I mean, even if it's the smallest thing. I mean, watching Jessica Simpson make a cheese sandwich or something. I mean, that was like people like, who would watch that?
Tuna fish, literally.
Yeah, tuna fish.
The chicken tuna of the sea.
And people watch it and it makes news and it makes because that's how we are. We love to see, again, that's why we love to see people just like watch and see what they're doing and go, why are they doing that?
Yeah. Well, and suddenly relate, right? Like I think the thing about that Jessica Simpson moment that I love pointing out and that what was interesting about Newlyweds then versus maybe say like Teen Mom, like you can look at how like this how we're looking at like how society specifically looks at females with both examples of those shows. Newlyweds was really, if you think of it, it was what is supposed to be the role of a female. The instant she gets married, she's supposed to know how to cook everything in the kitchen, and she's supposed to, that's not what her strength was, by the way. Her strength was being present, being authentic, and I think we all could relate to that. Where Nick was able to excel in some untraditional spaces, and the whole purpose of Newlyweds was to show the world that Jessica is not what you stop comparing her to Christina Aguilera and Britney Spears and Mandy Moore. She's She's not too this, she's not too that. She's just right. Like, leave her the fuck alone. And what
Yes.
MTV needed to do was give 30-minute, like 23 and a half minutes of programming time, but 30-minute window where we took out the reality of the pressures of the external news cycle that was happening, outside of the MTV world. Because TRL, what Carson created, that was like, I mean, he is a steward. He was on a mission to pull people together, and he was exactly what that network needed at a time right after Yo MTV Raps, that could actually manage bringing communities together and empowering them in a way that spun off more and more series and then more and more networks. And I really look at what Jess did, in that moment of innocence. By the way, in season 2, so she had already once gotten an awareness, a perception of who she was, right? So that was the first time we didn't have reality TV then. Otherwise, it was like the press and the media that would kind of tell you things. This is the first time she's really looking at herself in real time, seeing what she looks like when she eats, seeing what she looks like.
Yeah.
These were things that we didn't think about, 20 years or didn't know to think about 20 years ago.
But you
And
got to
she
think about
leaned
it.
into that. She leaned
Yeah.
into those strengths. She leaned into this new version. And what reality TV did is, well, then it presented her with an option. It presented her with a series of options, usually elevated options, which was what made it interesting to watch. But that's not what changed reality. What changes reality was the fact that youth culture was tied to a television network, MTV. And the things that MTV put on that network that it said was part of pop culture really to throw it against the wall and stick, see if it sticks. It really stuck. That was a powerful moment to see Ashton Kutcher claim being a creator, because he didn't want to just be seen as another pretty boy in another hit TV show and another hit movie or a box office flop. It's always connected to his looks. And I remember the meetings. He's like, I don't need a show. I got a show. I need a hit. And I need to produce it. And the world needs to know I produced it, because my goal in selling the show to MTV is like, someone should come in and invest in my company, and I'm a media mogul, and and I'm not saying I was the person who decided that, but I was in the room when those decisions got made. So I'm happy to see that.
Well, and that's the thing. What they did though is now, like you said, looking back on it 20 years from now, in 20 years going into the future, this is how we're going to be conditioned. We're already getting that next generation is getting conditioned this way. So looking at reality TV now, where it's no longer, you can almost take the reality part out of it and go, this is what normal watching is for people now. And it's going in, and I love it because it's going in this direction for us in us creating live streams, because that's for me, like where I see there's another sort of form starting to happen that way, where now we are just regular people doing a live stream, but people are tuning in, people are commenting. Guess what, folks? As me keeping somebody down to the ear of what I do in live streaming, there's technologies that are coming that are just going to make this so much more interesting, where people are going to feel a part of what I'm actually creating here. I mean, I actually tested a software the other day where people can be watching the live stream and send me in recorded video messages that I can actually pull into the live stream.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So it'd be nice, say you're having a
TRL. Hey, I'm
yes.
Vinny from Staten Island, and I request the number 3 video. Hoobastank.
Exactly. Right. So if somebody was saying, I don't want to type what I want to say, I'm going to record it and send that in to somebody while I'm live. And the thing is, as a host, and even as having a producer or somebody doing that, you see all these people sending in recorded videos, and you're like, man, you make it a part of what this whole conversation, right? And I think
they're part of the alchemy forever and always. And that's it's part of why I on my podcast only went back and started talking to people I've already created something with, because I wanted to make sense of what I've done, what we've done already, before I start adding anything new to the mix. Which is fun, because I basically, for me to figure out who to book on my podcast, I basically get, now that's 1998 and now that's 2007. I flip to the back and I start going down the backside. Willa Ford, look up Christina Milian, look out, I got some good ones coming back. But yeah, I really do believe it's about small business owners. It was
Yeah.
back then. Those brands, Beyonce wasn't, she owned Destiny, just a small business owner. had a couple of girls working for her. They didn't work out. She fired them. She rehired some new
Another
ones.
ones, yeah.
Got rid of some headcount. Figured out a better way to keep Destiny's Child leaning green. 3 was a better number than 5. She figured out the hard way.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I'm so excited about what's happening here in this, and with the ability for us to own content and create it, and for podcast to go broadcast is not as far as you think it is, and it's really close. We're here. So
I mean, think
I'm
about it.
excited for it.
You see guys like Joe Rogan. I mean, that's where, how many he can do a whole live stream podcast for 4 hours and have all those people tune in and watch for 4 hours. You're like, what are you doing for 4 hours? Well, I was listening to him. So, I mean, that is, again, I think that's where so much of this is what we're creating here now. We are the media. We are the creators. We're the ones that are making ideas now. We're the ones that are being able to do this. Apart from what you see in Hollywood, I mean, we're getting to be the storytellers now. We're the ones getting to create what we want to share. We get to craft that, and that best part about all of this is that
Well,
nobody has to feel silenced anymore.
yeah. Well, you said
Picking
you were
up,
talking earlier about just getting discovered and making content. We have such picking a platform, and where you can resonate. Yeah, I agree. I too double down on LinkedIn. I wanted to be found here. Like I made a conscious decision. I know I'm going to be I know someone's going to bump into me wherever I am. So I'd rather have that place be in LinkedIn if ultimately I'd rather things happen in LinkedIn. By the way, I see some people asking questions
yes.
about this. We are dual streaming. I think I've got a couple of Facebook. I got a Facebook page. I went crazy. It gave me the options to connect my profiles. I connected everything.
Well,
I think we've got 2
that's what I
LinkedIn's
love.
going on.
I love it
Yeah, I
because
like that.
that's
And
what.
Restream, right? That's what we're using. They were asking the
Yes.
software for this is Restream.
So
I
this
have
is
used StreamYard before, but this is a nice interface.
It is, and it's nice because, again, like I said, it gives it. It wasn't even difficult for you to do it right. It was just asking you, do you want to connect your things? It was this one, this one, this one. Click, boom, and then there they are.
Yeah.
So it gives you a wider cast as far as like how let's just say, for example, I were to have on tomorrow, I don't know, ex-President Obama, and he has his LinkedIn, and he's got 1 million followers. And I say, hey, will you pair your channels with mine? He comes on. That means I get broadcast across all his social media here and across from the 7,000 that are mine. And they're like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah.
Yeah. But this is the evolution of how these technologies are giving us all these tools as creators. And that's why, like, I love to see people, take the opportunities to create these things. So, I mean, I'm positive there's going to be a star found doing something like this. They're probably already getting found now through like apps like TikTok, and
Oh yeah.
they get famous literally by
Oh,
just
sure. Yeah. I
create.
mean, Reagan was an actor. He got famous. We know what happened with reality TV and that
Yes.
president. And by the way, I think W. Bush was the first president to put his presidential speech on a podcast. So yeah, for sure. Look, it's a modern form of technology. What's cool about podcasting is that it fractures media in a diagonal way that most usually don't. GIFs, some of these moving images, like there's some fractionality that happens with a moving image that's supposed to be static but is also moving. It fits in the video category but doesn't have audio. As we saw with Jiffy, GIFs now have stickers. What is it?
Yeah.
Stickers, captions, stickers,
music.
clips, and captions. I think clips
Yeah.
actually have audio in them too. Judy is like the queen of tenor, and Jiffy, she teaches me everything. I'm always so excited. And Ben, by the way, with hashtag Vinnie.
She is.
I love you, Ben. That's hysterical. And Jamie, I'm right there with you too, Jamie. I got you on that
one. Yes. Actually, I think I do have somewhere. I got to go find it, but I have a Judy.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
By the way, Ben, Judy, this is when you're friends with me and I'm the guy with the phone who's like, Judy, let's make earphone. Let's put fox ears on a microphone and upload it to Jiffy. So if you all go to Jiffy and search for Judy Fox, you'll see the little earphones we made. And Ben, it was really cool with Ben. We created this little graphic called "Fail It Till You Nail It," and I will tell you right now, because it's usually one of the ones that do like the best, like over 1 million views for sure. Text images tend to do 1.1 million is what my friend Ben here's. That's what he's got there.
Wow,
pretty cool. So
that is pretty cool.
If you want to search them, that's the other one we made. But this is the one that has 1.1 mil. It's fun.
Look at that.
Super fun.
It is. And again, man, it is just another way to again share your creativity.
Judy, I wish this is like a network. Like I would have like a little logo on the bottom corner. Maybe I'll just hold my microphone up there like this, and it feels like a network ID.
See, look, here's mine. Look, just to show proof. This is mine.
Oh, that's a great one. Yes. It's one of my favorites. Now we're just showing. Now we're just. This is. Oh yeah. Here's one. You can see I've got a
look at that
action.
Yes.
This is us in LinkedIn. I'm actually, Judy, I never posted our LinkedIn tour to LinkedIn. So maybe that's something I should do. We had a private tour. It took 2 hours. They literally let Judy and I take photos, a full photo shoot, every single place on every floor in the Empire State Building that has a LinkedIn insignia. Judy and I Fox have been there. And we've taken a photo there.
Well, I'm trying to get that woman back on my show. I've had her on once.
Well, maybe we'll come back. We have some news that's coming out next week. I don't know if I was supposed to say it, but I just said it like that. But we have some news coming out next week together. So maybe we'll get to share some news together next week.
Interesting. She's been a busy bee. She's been quite a busy bee. I mean, she's been at a lot of conferences. I know that she was in People of Video that was just last week in Albany. I keep track of you, lady, just so you know. Not that I'm stalking, but I keep track.
You got the calendar? Do you download the calendar?
Yeah, you know.
All right.
You need to keep a track of it. It's almost like Carmen Sandiego. It's like, where in the world is?
Yeah, where in the world?
Oh, it's Judy Fox. we know.
Actually, that's so funny you say that, Judy, because don't you have something kind of like a Where's Waldo? Did we ever do that? Did that ever go anywhere? By the way, she might be like, "Don't talk about my stuff." That's it, stuff. But you're not far from something that's. She's always just thinking. You know what's so fun and whimsical about her is like, and you even nailed it too in the beginning of this. Like we are predominantly on LinkedIn. Some people may have a problem with the fact that we haven't quite talked about business, and then I would say, but you just missed the whole lesson on networking.
Yes.
If you think that we've just been on LinkedIn and have only been chit-chatting this entire time, like this is the stuff that when you can connect and make these connections now, this is when I don't need something, that I can build this relationship with you. So I'm not under duress or feel shame for asking to have a relationship with you, because now there's an outcome, a desired outcome that I want. It's like these tentpole, having a series like this that gives us the opportunity to be able to touch base with you, to collaborate with you, and when it works, this is so awesome. It's a smart idea. So
it is.
Thank you for this.
Oh, absolutely. And the great thing about all of this is that now it'll live on forever. And this conversation that happened, people will actually go back and be able to watch it. And for some people, it serves as research. For others, it's entertainment. For others, it's, just wanting to learn more about Vinnie. And that's the cool part about what I get to do here every single night. So I'm doing 100 episodes for everybody that doesn't know, but most of you already know. And that is like going to be my 4th season of doing this much content. And, for me, it's wanting to find other individuals. I mean, apart from just just talking again, like business, that's why it's called UnFiltered, because we get to talk about those other parts of who each individual is, right? So people
Mhm.
don't know you just as a podcaster. People just don't know you as a. So I kind of let off a little bit about your backstory and being that, because I want people to know that. I mean, that's the whole part about, again, just talking about authentically who you are. Don't, um, for living in the shadows for that, for as long as you did in certain aspects, it feels good to not have to wear that cape anymore. And it's like, I'm
Yeah.
just
Well,
me,
hey,
baby.
it's not like you told everybody I was a Mets fan.
Yeah.
'Cause there are some real truths that I'm still struggling with, by the way. My family, Mets, Yankees, I picked Mets. Nets, Knicks, I picked Nets. Jets, Giants, I picked Giants. Like, just
Yeah, you're
there's a
causing.
lot going on there. But again, this goes to show when I think what I just pointed out was I was brought up and given choices, and there was usually two choices. And I have to tell you something, as a creative, I know that there are 358 other choices that I have 360 total, right? Is that, yeah? Then I
Yeah,
can pick. No, I'm good. I'll find my own answers. I'll make up my own answers, and some part of it is just me needing to fiercely be me. A piece of fortitude that says, "Look, can I get there in a direct line? Yes, but you know what? If we do a little swoop, it might be a little bit more fun. We'll have some more photos. It'll be a bigger memory. We may be a minute late, but it will be a minute stronger together, and I focus on the impact. I'm
no,
open to outcomes, and that really
absolutely.
helps. That helps my mindset. And I'm not secretive about my ideas. Some people think that I shouldn't tell people my ideas because they're so precious. And as someone who sold TV shows my entire life, my ideas mean nothing. It's all about execution. So I'm happy to tell people my ideas, because the last thing I'm doing is 6 feet under with with a heart full of ideas that never got implemented because I was stingy and had to be a part of it. No way. I'm bigger than that. And these experiences that I've seen that I'm still processing, that sometimes I get a great idea and I'm like, where did that come from? And then 2 weeks later, I'm like, wow, I was processing that from that one specific moment. Like I've held on to a show about couples that are, moving, and they've got extra furniture, and there's an in-law, like all the things, experiences that I pull and try to put into the content so that it moves the conversation and doesn't just, become entertainment. I feel that
Well,
way about podcasting and what's happening with this video in our live streaming, and our ability to not have to be gated by publicly owned, centralized, media companies to be able to bear the fruits of each other, to
no,
connect and share in that and celebrate that together.
no, you're absolutely, you're spot on with what you're talking about, because you know again, as we move forward, I mean, everything around us and all the things that we've gotten used to, um are shifting. I mean, that's all. And the thing is, if you don't move on an idea, um I'm gonna tell you what, how many times have you been somebody where they see a product or something coming, like, man, I had that idea like 5 years ago, 2 years
Hmm.
ago, right? It's like, well, why didn't you move on it? Why didn't you do something with it? I mean, I think an idea kind of floats around. It's almost like a vibe. And when it lands in your lap, if you're not there to execute it, if it's a really good idea, guess what? Somebody's going to find it. It's going to go somewhere else where it's going to get put into implementation, and somebody else is going to turn it into something.
Yeah,
Um,
really, ideas are obviously, ideas worthy of moving. Now the idea of being too early, I'd rather be late than too early, and there's actually a reason why. Because if I'm late, then I'd rather be Facebook than MySpace. I'd rather be late than early, and not and have to be the person who paves the way for education and understanding, and why this tool is important, and why this conversation is important, and why this person, or why this relationship construct, or why this business is important. I'd rather be late and say, see what I was talking about? Now this is the way to do it.
oh
This
yeah,
is, the so because uh, I had a problem being too early in my career in the beginning, and I, like you, a year from pitching everything, people, it was happening, and I was like, oh, I know. I didn't know what I didn't know. I thought everyone knew what ghosting was, but no one had talked about it yet. So like they weren't selling TV shows about ghosting because no one understood that term yet. Yet I'm, and here I am with a red flag saying, no, the kids are saying it.
You know what it is.
Like the kids are saying, my brother and my sister, that's always my litmus test. My brother and my sister are saying it. So that's like, I know it's true. That's how I got to
It's
MTV.
real.
My brother and sister are born in 84, 85. I got to MTV in 99. So they were 15 and 16. Like they were in my demographic. I what y'all got from me the 10 years that I was MTV, that's what it was like being my brother. Literally. And my whole family grew up there too. And I treated them all like Mandy, like my little Mandy's like my little sister. Like we, in the best way, in the worst way possible too. We found ourselves in weird situations in foreign countries where we're like, how do we, what happened? Like we should,
how do we get
you
here?
can't drive. So it's me. I got to be the one that, like, man, I don't know. This is, gotta get a chaperone in here. But it's with the grace of people that, I've gotten to carve paths for them, leverage their experiences to help people who maybe they didn't realize they were helping. And for somehow it's for me, it's creative output. For me, it's like an opportunity to make your path, your journey more rewardable, more enhanced, more impactful. I'm not going to change your direction. I'm just going to make sure more comes to you, give you an abundant amount of options to be able to make these decisions from. And that's what I learned from reality TV. That's what I love about podcasting I love podcast guesting. Now I go on. By the way, I hate to say this, like I just figured this out. You all want to know the biggest content hack of 2022? Podcast guesting. There is nothing cheaper than being on someone's podcast. You will get high quality content with your little facey mug on it. Maybe you'll get a quote card if you do your homework and you do your hard work and you really, really drill down and find ways to be memorable, find ways to provide information that's implementable. Then you'll start to see quote cards. You'll start to see information with your name on it, and someone else makes it for you. And then they post it and they say, you're the best. You help them make this content. And then, because again, this episode is all about networking. I just made that happen. I'm just making that happen now. One of the things I do, and this is something we talked about in Cammy's group again. So if anyone wants to go back to Cammy's group with that.
Yes.
I tell podcast guests to ask the podcast host if it's okay to take the audio file and put it on their podcast. I mean, I imagine that my audience would love to hear you interview me. If they already know me, you're going to get a different story out of me. Facts won't change, characters won't change, but you're going to get a different story out of me just because of the framing of questions and the back and forth of it. So there's like that's free. So someone else records it, someone else edits it. You have to do your homework. You have to know, you have to stick to your talk points. You have to be effective, right? So there's a little bit of homework in here, but the rest of it, free. And it's high value because you're providing someone, they own it. You don't own it, they own it, right? So I wouldn't run ads against a podcast episode if someone else made it and they gave it to me. I wouldn't run an ad on it. Just, it hasn't come up yet, but I don't run ads, and I wouldn't do it just because I would never want to make it weird for somebody else, unless I ask that person if they'd like to do an ad swap. And like, I'm on Matchmaker FM for one reason. I'm still waiting for someone to hit me up on Matchmaker FM, which is a podcast matchmaking site. It helps you find guests and hosts. It connects them together. I'm still waiting for someone to say, I would love to swap an ad with you. And I probably will say yes to the first person who's ready to move forward and do this, just because I want the experience. Otherwise, as everyone, I'm big on Podmatch. Podmatch, tight little community, about 20,000 people. This Alex Sanfilippo, this dude that made it, it's just like he really cared about the tools he gave podcasters. And I share a link, vpe.tv/podmatch, but like I pay $50. I get introduced to 8 podcasters a day that are qualified based on what I want to be on, talking about. And I don't have to be overexposed for people to be able to discover me and take action. And that overexposure part was like the fact that I didn't want to have to be on Instagram every single day made it really, really tough. Cammy, by the way, Cammy, if you've got an ad ready to rock and roll, I tell people this is funny to think of, but if you got an ad ready to rock and roll, let's do it. I want it through Matchmaker FM. I want to see how that whole process and system works, by the way.
Well, guess what? We're on a business platform.
I like that. Yeah, right.
Here.
I'll tell you, and being a guest on podcasts is like free media training. And as someone who's been this close to media training and never really took it, I taught it and I never really took it, to be really honest. No, and also I was trained in TV as a casting and development. I was trained to remove my voice from this. So I don't speak over you by training, but also I'm trained to remove my voice at the final product, take your voice, create some type of story with it, throw music to it, photos, and try to make you a housewife. Like that's like what I did for 10 years
so
after
long,
leaving on TV. Now I'm working on my heaven points, and all y'all who've been here all night long, I'm gonna call on you. I'll be like, no, but Sherry was there. Sherry knows. She'll tell you.
She knows. She knows exactly.
Cammy was there.
There you go. So we got all in. All right, we'll get that worked out. So, all right, guys. I don't know if you're still available, but me and Vinny are gonna try to jump over on Instagram for just a few minutes afterwards. We'll be doing this every night. We're gonna go hop over there. So if you guys want to go follow us over there on Instagram, you're more than welcome to. I will be going live in just a few minutes. So Vinny, sit tight. Or you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and let you get out of the studio here. And I'm going to wrap up here, and then I'm going to head over to Instagram. But thank you so much, number one. Appreciate it. And I'm sorry for everybody else who couldn't understand the technology and I go, where are all the comments coming from? I don't see it all. It's that they're everywhere. They're everywhere. That's okay. You can go back and and yes, it is great to meet Vinny. He's awesome.
Ken, it's great to meet you, Ken, too. Ken just sent me a podcast link that I got to listen to. A drywall installer, by the way. This is what's fun. Like people are like, wait, you would listen to a drywall? Yeah, are you kidding?
Yeah.
He made it.
Why not? Yeah.
He in fact, Ken did exactly what I've been Ken was a podcast guest, and now he has a piece of content that he didn't produce that he can share. And there's so much value in that. So y'all, if you're not already podcasting, go out. And then if you're looking to do more, I got to write a chapter in Podmatch's book. It comes out in like a couple of weeks. So I'll have to share that with you when it's
please do.
All public info.
I will always have you back, and we can always share that, because again, I love sharing information that helps people build their voices, and this is how you can do it, folks. This is a direct way. I mean, there's so much behind it. Okay, thank you, Vinny. I'll be over there in just a few minutes over on Instagram. I will catch you. Everybody else, first of all, thank you so much for tuning in, guys. You have been, again, an awesome audience this evening. You guys, again, are the best audience on LinkedIn, bar none. I'm never going to get tired of saying that. So we will be back tomorrow evening with our guest. Oh, play it, go. Why? He will be our guest tomorrow evening. He is talking about Amazon Live and so much more about live streaming. So if you want to tune in and check that out, you are more than welcome to join us 8:15 Eastern Standard Time. And I am about to head over to Instagram if you want to go check us out. I am on Instagram at the Stream Tornado by my other moniker. So if you want to go follow me over there, you're more than welcome to. So until tomorrow evening, guys, you rocked it. I appreciate you all being here. You caught the tail end, but it was a wonderful live. And thank you for tuning in, Mr. Sebastian Ong. I will be back tomorrow night. So you guys stay well, be well. We'll get through this together. I'll talk to you soon. So good night, everybody.